Darkcast Network. Indie pods with a dark side.
Warning. The following podcast may occasionally contain strong language and material that is not suitable for all ages. If you are easily offended, it is highly advised that you turn back now. However, if you're a degenerate, welcome, brethren. You've found your home.
Welcome to the Crime Diner. We're a Jersey podcast, and on the menu is a variety of true crime, cults, mysteries, historical hilarities, and sometimes victim stories. We do this within a Dinner with Friends theme. I'm Nidia.
I'm Dana.
I'm Cindy.
So Dana is sick with some COVID-like variation.
Yeah, my son came home from college and he brought his fungus with him. And I have not even had a cold for 3 years, truly. So I was skiing and I got sick and I'm like, oh shit, I wonder if this kid got me sick, or I wonder if we got COVID while we were here, whatever. We tested for COVID when we got back because the person I was skiing with, she also was not feeling great. And we both tested negative, but then 2 days later, her wife tested positive, but she was not with us when we were skiing. So she's like, I don't know if she got it before we went skiing, if we, whatever, but I've been so sick and like, I cannot shake it. And so I've tested for COVID 3 times. I've been negative 3 times, but like, I just didn't want to risk possibly getting you guys sick. Even if it's not COVID, you probably don't want whatever I have. So I am recording from my house today.
Wonderful.
As she sniffled after that.
Right.
My box of tissues here, because I've like literally been blowing my nose for like a week straight. It's very annoying.
What's nice is that the drink I sent home with you, because you did stop over to pick up the food so that you could eat with us.
Yes.
And the drink I sent home with you has lemon and honey in it.
Oh, yesterday I woke up with a sore throat and I was like, I'm dying. That's it. I was like, I was eating ice cream, and it was an ice cream I never had before. And it was white chocolate and dark cherry or something.
Oh, damn.
I'm like, it doesn't taste like anything. I'm in here eating peanut butter. I'm like, did I lose my taste? But I don't think I did. I keep testing negative, so I don't know.
Well, I always lose my taste buds no matter what. It doesn't matter. I've only had COVID the one time, and I've always lost my taste. I didn't lose it during COVID, but I lost it during any other time that I get sick.
Really?
So I've never lost my taste because you guys are tasteless and I have all of the taste.
Last week we talked about fairy tale origins, the Muffin Man. And
how could I forget? That was so fun.
Yeah, how could you forget? What did you have for breakfast this morning? I'm sure you don't remember that either.
Probably toast and coffee.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
I think by this time we have also released the Valentine's Day episodes from the network. So there was that. So
this week I'm going to tell you a story about why maybe you shouldn't trust your husband and your nanny.
Uh-oh.
I mean, especially if she's a hot Lithuanian. So anyway, that's going to be my story today. I'm going to talk about Nathan Leuthold and the murder of Denise Leuthold.
Uh-oh. We hate that.
Yes. But first, the food. Let us pray. Bless us, O patrons, for these thy gifts which we are about to receive from thy donations through Patreon every month under the power of the V podcast
cult.
Listen, the food was fabulous. What'd you think? What was it anyway?
So it was Lithuanian based. The potato.
It's potato.
The potato.
I want to just mention to the audience listening, whoever the three of you are, Cindy, I'm drunk. Cindy's wife is a speech pathologist, yet Cindy says potato.
She loves it when I say that. She also loves when I say sandwich instead of sandwich.
All right, go on with your potatoes.
So my potato, that thing is called a kugelis.
Okay.
It is grated potatoes with bacon, and I added onion. Some people don't. There's cream of wheat in there, and you just bake it, and that's it. And then you top it with sour cream. I added pork loin on the side and some steamed broccoli, and not broccoli.
Spinach.
So good.
Spinach. I spinach jaw.
It was, so it's a relative of the latke.
So the reason I say kugli, because somewhere I read it was similar to a kugel. I don't know what kugels are.
Kugel is like a sweet pasta, sort of, that we've had it a couple times at book club for any like Jewish listeners. Like the bow tie pastas usually, or like a pasta, and it's like sweet and has like creamy mixture. I don't know. Teresa makes it a bunch for
right. And but it's a casserole dish.
It's like baked. Yeah, it's really good.
And it's kind of all like mushed together.
Yeah.
That does not sound appetizing, and I don't remember having it, but I really like this.
We've had it.
Dish.
It's good. It's really good. This does not really. I guess a little bit.
No, it doesn't at all. Because now that you told me what kugel is, now I remember it. I'm like, that's not the same.
Well, it's kugely. It's kugel adjacent.
Yeah. I thought it was corn pudding at first when I first opened it.
Well, the other name that they go by is potato pudding.
Okay. It's good.
Yeah, I really like it.
The spinach is really good too.
Yeah, you know what? My wife tasted it and she's like, "Oh, the spinach is salty," and I'm like, all I added was bacon grease to it, and red pepper flakes to it.
It's spinach from a can, Popeye.
That's why I grew up eating spinach from a can. I'm like, this is so good.
I cheated because I didn't want to get yelled at for not giving y'all greens again.
Well, let me just tell you that while I was eating it, I kept thinking, put it out of your mind that this is from a can. Put it out of your mind that this is from a can. Because it would gross me out because I don't like vegetables from a can. But it was tasty. And when you mix it with that potato thing, whatever the kugli, it was actually pretty tasty. And that pork, I can't speak highly enough about Cindy's pork. Mm-hmm. Her pork is delicious. I love eating it.
What is on the what is the seasoning? Because it's really good.
From that spice shop we hit up while we were in Atlanta, Southern Roots Spice Shop. Yeah.
This episode brought to you by Southern Roots.
Not a sponsor, obviously. But the guy is so nice there. You guys actually got to meet him while we were in Atlanta, and it's that love pork seasoning.
Yeah, and you can get Southern Roots spices. I'm drunk. You can get those online. Delicious. I'm gonna let you eat your food, and I'm gonna go grab some dessert because I want to taste it.
All right, let's go. I love this cake. What are these? What are the pieces of cake? What is that?
So those are tea biscuits, and I say that loosely because when I went to the supermarket, I could not find the traditional tea biscuit. Yeah. So it's shortbread. It's that really expensive shortbread cookie that you buy in the supermarket.
What's the Stelladora?
Ladora, Lenora, Lorena, I don't know.
Lorena. It's the elk cookie.
I think it's Lorena. I think that's what they're called.
No.
I'll check upstairs. I have one little packet left of it. Yeah.
Lorna Doone.
That's it. That's it.
Lorna Doone.
So it's Lorna Doone cookies. But the actual cake itself is called Tinginis.
Okay.
Tinginis. Oh.
Tinginis.
So what is it, like a ganache of some sort?
So you basically heat up condensed milk, add a mixture of cocoa powder and some other things that they say. The recipe will be in the show notes. And then just mix in the cookies, chopped up cookies into it, and plastic wrap, and let it go. And that's what it looks like.
It's really freaking good. And it's a no-bake, right?
It's a no-bake. It was like 15 minutes, and then you have to sit it for a few hours to set.
Girl, that was delicious. Oh my God, can you imagine that with ice cream?
Oh, God.
Always asking for ice cream when I don't have ice cream for y'all.
Future paperclip that for the future. Okay,
really fantastic.
Absolutely. And this drink, I gotta be honest with you, I'm not a tart person, but as soon as we put the giant dollop of honey in it, it was just really, really tasty. I might be slurring my words a little bit because it was a good margarita.
It's called a Gold Blossom Margarita. And the main reason I picked this was because when I was looking up Lithuanian drinks, a lot of them had honey liqueur, but I didn't want to spend the money and buy honey liqueur. Let me find a drink that has honey in it, and that's what I made.
Yeah, no, I really like this.
Yeah, it's really, really good.
Yeah, and listen, if you're not cooking along with us, what are you really doing? I mean, treat yourself.
Why are you even listening to this podcast?
Treat yourself. Make yourself these meals. Then sit and listen to the podcast. And I promise you, it'll be the least loneliest you'll ever feel on a Valentine's Day by yourself.
I do have one podcaster. They're called Crime and Crime Again. Chelsea. And that's what she does. She actually cooks while she's listening to the episode.
Well, I mean, that's a pro bono.
Yeah. She tells us all the time. She's like, I am cooking because I have to be able to eat with y'all.
Oh, I love that for her.
Yeah.
That's literally, I think, the only person that's done that. That was like the thought behind the podcast before, that people would want to like try the food and eat with us. But
we don't know that has been the case. We haven't spoken to every single listener. Anywho, I hope you're doing it. And if you're not, that's a 2023 resolution right there for you. All right. You won't lose any weight because I've only gained weight since I started this podcast. But the food is restaurant quality. It's delicious and not so nutritious.
Sometimes. Remember when she tried to give us a salad?
Y'all yell at me for not having vegetables and then yell at me when I do give you a
We're
vegetable.
like children. We'll complain about the vegetables, but we really need it.
So last week when I left y'all, I said to Cindy, Cindy works for the state, right? And so I was like, I think I might need your help because I'm having a problem with my unemployment. So I'm currently off of work for 6 weeks because my job closes, whatever. It's a whole thing. It happens every year. And so I get on unemployment for these couple of weeks while I'm off of work. And there was a mistake. Like there was a problem. One of our listeners, A, works in the same building as Cindy. So she has access to unemployment, like to pay.
A for access.
Yes. So I was like, do you think she can help me? I don't know. And she's like, I'll reach out to her for you. So this was Monday morning. And so Monday morning, she's like, I'll try to help you, blah, blah, blah. I was going skiing and it was all of this. So we were like back and forth on, Messenger. And they kept being like, you have to reset your PIN. And I'm like, they're saying my PIN is wrong. And I'm like, it's been the same PIN for 10 years. I literally used it every week up to this point. My PIN is not wrong. But if you think I need to reset it, like, fine, I'll reset it. And she's like, I'm sure your PIN is not wrong, but like, that's what management is saying. And, management probably like, they know everything. You know what I mean? Like they know everything. They don't want to listen to what you have to say. Okay, fine. So I reset my PIN of 10 years to a different PIN and it's still not working. So the next morning she's like, my boss is going to call you. And I'm like, okay, but I was literally putting my ski boots on to go on the mountain. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to turn my ringer on. I'm going to do all this stuff. But then like, I tried to do the problem, like tried to redo whatever I was trying to do and it worked. So I messaged her and was like, oh my God, it's working, but I just need to still be able to like apply for last week, whatever. So she's like, she's going to call you. So her boss calls me and her boss is like, I know you're Cynthia's friend, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, okay. So I tried to start like telling her what the problem was. And she was like, I'm going to need you to stop. I was like, okay. She was like, your PIN is wrong. And I'm like, okay, like, so thank you so much. Like I reset the PIN is now working, even though the PIN was not the problem, but okay. I said it recertified, whatever. And she's like, you're messing everything up, blah, blah, blah. She starts yelling at me, right? And I'm like, oh my God. So I like sat there and let her yell at me for like a long time. She gets done talking. She's like, I'm going to have somebody call you back. And I was like, okay. So I texted A back and I was like, so she was really mean to me. She was like, actually, that was her being really nice because I told her that you were Cynthia's friends and she would be nice. I was like, she was not nice. This lady calls me back like 10 minutes later and she's like, thanks to the valiant effort of she was able to figure out all of your errors and I fixed everything for you and blah, blah. If it wasn't for blah, blah. And I'm like, it was not like, barely fucking helped. Was so mean to me.
Oh.
She was really nice to me because I'm friends with Cindy. I'm like, geez, take me to dinner first, bitch.
Wow.
I probably should have told Dana that sometimes listens.
Uh-oh.
No, she doesn't. But her cousin does. Because I didn't think she was going to say a name.
Oh my God. So she was nice mean.
I mean, hey, listen, she got the job done, so that is important.
She gets the job done. That's, you know what? A came upstairs the next day and told me, oh, so-and-so was like, you know, she was mean. She was having a good day, but she was definitely mean to your friend.
That was her being nice. I'm like, oh, okay.
We're actually pretty okay with each other. Me and her, we get along pretty well, but I know that she has a side.
Wow.
Hey, man, she got it done. She got it help. You know, it was helpful. It was good. Now I'm going to throw up because now I'm going to think she's going to hear this.
They won't listen. A will definitely listen. And the cackle in the background.
Thank you. Thank you. Truly, she's like, I'm sorry, I couldn't be more helpful. I'm like, no, like, honestly, if this was like a regular person trying to get through to unemployment, like, it would never have happened. So, and I would have been so screwed. So, but it all got
perks of being famous.
Yes.
And by famous, basically knowing me.
I know the listeners have been eagerly waiting for my students to earn another free day.
Yes.
And it took them from after Thanksgiving to now to earn another free day. They're supposed to earn, if they're good, it's supposed to take them 10 days, 10 school days to earn a free day. It took them from after Thanksgiving to now. Okay. So it's been a dark period in teaching lately. They're all being really bad. It's like the fucking full moon and Friday the 13th every single day. But they finally made it. They made it, right? And so they earned a free day. And, you know, they always do the quirkiest things during a free day. So this free day, the day before, we had been telling realistic fiction stories. So they had been making up stories. And a couple of the kids that got to share, because they finished within the time period allotted, they got to share their stories and they were really creative about it, right? So they decided the next day that they would be telling each other scary stories this time. Right. So they all told each other, they sat in the reading area around a carpet, and they put a computer in the middle with a crackling fire on the screen, and they were doing campfire stories. And they shut off the classroom lights, and they were sitting there telling each other ghost stories about, you know, their personal ghost experiences or what have you, right? When each had a turn telling a story, which I thought was hilarious, because if I was to tell them that this was an assignment, they wouldn't come up with them as freely as they did. All right. So they sat around and I'm listening to their stories, and it's just like the funniest things, you know, about a time that they experienced a ghost scare or whatever. And the kids are like, you're lying. That's not true. That didn't happen. And so they decided to pull up scary creepypasta on YouTube. Yeah. So they put that in the middle of the thing, and they were all enthralled listening to it. And it pretty much lasted all day, that they just sat around this little campfire thing that they started listening to creepypastas.
That's so crazy.
And that's what they did. That's what they did for the whole day. They just did little campfire stories.
That sounds like so much fun.
It was, but I was just like really shocked that that's all they wanted to do was like tell each other creepy stories and listen to creepy stories. That's all they wanted to do. I had the Play-Doh out. I had games out.
They're like actually friends.
You know what? That's what the goal is, because they fight a lot within each other. They've been in the same classroom since like 3rd and 4th grade, you know, when they got classified. And so like there's a lot of personality clashing there, you know? And one of the kids is autistic and whatever. And it's really difficult for him to make friends because he's not aware of social cues and, you know, social norms. So when it comes to those things, though, he fits right in. Yeah. You know, and it's so cute that they like all work together towards a main goal, because, you know, I have them take a vote and I'm like, my rule is they're not allowed to watch a movie and they're not allowed to go on the computer unless it's a team game. So it's about team building, you know? And so this was like a team activity, and it was so freaking cute. I was just like, oh, they're listening to it and they're totally believing it, you know?
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, I really loved it. So, I mean, it wasn't like the traditional, like, funny thing, but, you know, they were all telling stories, and I just thought it was so cute, especially the fire.
They sound like really fun little kids to, like, hang out with when they're not being, like total lunatics.
In small doses. Small doses, honey. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I
Very
still think
small
my
doses.
favorite was the store when they were, like, starting businesses and stuff.
Oh my God, yeah, and the one kid banned the store because he got fired and he started his own business. Yeah, that was a lot.
I think that's so funny.
Yeah. Well, that was last year. This year I have different kids. I still have the same kids from last year, but my older grade always goes on to the next teacher, and because I keep them for 2 years.
Gotcha.
So my 5th graders last year are now 6th graders, you know, so I still have them, but then I have new kids, a new batch of kids.
Oh, okay,
yeah.
okay.
My 5th graders are always new kids.
Gotcha.
Yeah, because I hang on to them for 2 years. It was nice when my boyfriend was the teacher that they would have next year, because then it was like they had 2 parents for 4 years.
Yeah.
And his teaching style is a lot like me, you know, so it was almost like I was still in their lives, you know.
That's cool.
Yeah. And we would sometimes combine the classes and have like classroom parties and things like that. It was nice.
Well, that makes it easier too, because then it's like the two of you doing it together, and then the same kids from the same. That's fun.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. So yeah. So anyway, that was my thing this week.
Well, very exciting.
Yeah. Other than that, it's been really uneventful. Like,
Yeah.
nothing fucking going on. January feels like the longest month of the year. It probably is, with the 31 days and no fucking breaks.
Yeah.
You know?
Barely any holidays, nothing good happening.
I mean, you have MLK, you know, Martin Luther King.
Well, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah, but other than that, there's like really nothing going on. And you're just like, oh my God, this is dragging. And the skies are gray and it's just, ugh.
Cold and wet and rainy.
Yeah. So I don't really have anything going on. How about you, Cindy? Anything?
Never have anything going on. I'm just trying to survive each day. I am doing a furniture upcycle thingy. I've been posting TikToks about that on TikTok.
Yeah.
I saw it on TikTok.
Yeah, I know. I'm like so proud of her. She's making
Getting
progress.
closer and closer to getting it done. I'll have it done by the end of the year.
It's something to look for in 2024.
So you have a story to tell us today?
I do have a story to tell you. So I actually found this story when I was researching Valentine's Day stories for our Darkcast Network, you know, the thing. But it was too meaty, too juicy, so I decided to make it a standalone story, right?
Queer. Adjective. 1. Odd or peculiar. 2. Formerly a derogatory term for a homosexual. Now an umbrella term for or relating to the LGBTQ+ community.
I'm NJ Hawkerby, host of A Crime Most Queer, a long-form true crime podcast delivered in story form, covering cases that meet both definitions of the term queer. Join me every second Tuesday as I take you on a journey into some of the strangest cases involving the LGBTQ+ community from around the world. From mass murderers and serial killers to crimes of passion and acts of betrayal. These tales definitely qualify as a crime most queer. Available on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.
So on Valentine's Day in 2023, police in Peoria, Illinois, received...
2023?
Oh, 2013. Did I say 2023?
I'm like, she's looking into the future. This is why she didn't put it on Darkcast.
Yeah, right? I visited that psychic at Dana's party that she missed. So it was 2013 in Peoria, Illinois, and the police received a report of a burglary at 3:40 p.m. They arrived at the home on West Mossville Road to investigate and found the lifeless body of a 39-year-old Denise Leuthold inside. She had been killed with a single gunshot wound to the head. Denise Leuthold lived in a house with her husband, Nathan, and their 3 children and her parents. The family of 5 lived with Denise's parents, like I said, Diane and Douglas Newton, in their home on this West Mossville Road. They had recently returned to Peoria from Lithuania. So Denise and Nathan were Baptist missionaries who shared their time between U.S. and Lithuania. You're looking at me like, have you heard this story before? Have you told this story before?
No, I was like, when you said missionaries, I was like, oh, God. Okay.
Oh, okay. I roll. All right. So they had been missionaries, and they had gone back and forth between Lithuania and the U.S. They had done this since 1998, spending much of their 15 years divided between Lithuania, United States, and they traveled throughout the country of Lithuania, starting churches and taking part in Christian outreach efforts, as missionaries tend to do, right?
They do, yes.
Right. So during this time, the police asked people not to panic, but to exercise caution and report anything suspicious. They urged people to lock their doors, lock their windows, pay attention to strangers in the area, strange cars, blase, blase. Denise's murder was considered a robbery gone wrong. And fear naturally swept through the community, especially when someone was willing to kill a stranger during a burglary, which is not common. If somebody was willing to kill a woman during a robbery, what's to say they wouldn't do it again, right?
Yeah.
So the thoughts among the neighborhood was that it was just a burglary gone wrong and a 39-year-old woman lost her life. And that's cause for concern. And they wanted police to make that clear. Fearing that a killer was in their midst, District 323 administrators placed a soft lockdown on all schools in the area. This included the locking of all the doors and banning outside recess. So you have a quizzical look on your face.
I just think that's odd to close the school, not close them, but lock down the schools just for a murder in the area.
Okay, but if you will recall, remember that doctor that killed his wife in Linwood, Cindy's doctor?
I was about to say, my doctor.
Yeah, when that happened and the police, because it was almost like a staged robbery too, somebody came in and killed her.
Somebody was on the hunt that day, or on the loose that day. They closed the schools down that day.
Well, anytime that there's something that happens in the area that somebody hasn't been apprehended, they do shelter in place, a soft lockdown. And it's just basically where they close the doors. They don't allow outdoor recess or anything. Inside the school, business remains as usual, but we stay away from windows and things like that. And we don't open the doors to anybody. So that's a soft lockdown. And that's what happened in Linwood when that lady got murdered. What was her name?
Kaufman.
Yeah, Kaufman, the Kaufman murders. Kaufman murder. So anyway, this happens, it's a usual thing that happens, right? So the police wanted to assure people that they were working on the case feverishly, but since they hadn't apprehended anybody and couldn't name a suspect, they just wanted everybody on the lookout or just, exercising caution, right? But they had already, usually when the police come out, they kind of already know based on the scene, based on the husband's, reaction. They kind of make an assumption, right? Just like you and I would.
Yeah.
They just try to stay a little more open-minded because you and I would have been like, you did this.
Yeah, 100%.
Like we talk to our dogs. Who killed the person? Who's a bad boy? Anyway, meanwhile, Denise's funeral was held at Cornerstone Baptist Church. Her pastor would remember her as a kind-hearted and sweet-spirited woman who embodied Christian values. He described her as an embodiment of those values, stating she was a very kind and compassionate, godly lady. We're going to hear from her from beyond the grave.
Uh-oh.
So the 911 call came in from Nathan around 3:15. He had just returned home with their youngest child, and he entered through the garage door when he saw broken glass from a window at the rear of their house. And some items were thrown about. So he left, he went outside and called police, and he waited outside for the police to arrive and clear the house, right? If you walked into your house and you notice, there's been a break-in, are you going to go into the house where there might still be people there? No, you would wait outside, right?
I think it depends how old you are.
You're a millennial. You don't even open the door. You act like somebody's freaking...
When I was in 5th grade, our house got broken into, but I didn't know. I like was the first one home from school that day.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, oh, it's weird. The front door's open. That's odd. And just walked in. And I was like, why is this window open? That's weird. Like, shut the window. And I'm like, oh, there's the puppy. And like, oh, somebody put him in the closet. We had just gotten a dog and he was in the closet. So I opened it up and then I was like, this is so weird. I better like tell my mom. And then like I called my mom because you had to call your mom when you got home from school. And I was like, the front door was open. This was open. That was open. She's like, what the hell? Like, and then, they called the police, whatever. They were like, yeah, you shouldn't like touch things if someone breaks into your house. And then a week later, they must have just went through the first time to like see where everything was. And then they came back a week later and like stole our TV and like all of our shit. My dad, yeah, computer and stuff. But the second time I knew not to touch anything. But the first time I did like walk in the house and be like, oh, that was weird that all of these things are open. Well, I was like a little kid, you know?
That's when you discovered that detectiving wasn't your calling.
It was, yes.
So anyway, so the police come in and they immediately find Denise's body and he's just standing outside, you know? So the detectives see her body and they also noted that her car had been stolen. And they were still investigating her murder when they publicly stated that it could have been a result of a random robbery or a targeted murder. So I'm like, wait, okay, so the two options in the world that it could... Yeah. Well... Like they hold a press conference and they're like, well, she was either murdered during a robbery or somebody knew her and targeted her for this murder. Yes, no shit, Sherlock, right?
Yes, key detective work going on there.
I mean, key detective work. So the case was never given prominence in the media until March. So this is February 14th. Now it's March, and now it's starting to get attention. And the attention that it got was because the police made the announcement that Denise's own husband, Nathan, was connected to her murder.
Oh, shit.
Yes. So they announced the arrest and they say, we believe the husband committed this murder and it was staged to look like a burglary. So now I'm going to go back to the beginning and I'm going to tell you what happened.
All right. We love good storytelling.
Is it though? So February 14th, 2013 started off like any other Valentine's Day for Nathan and Denise. That morning, they began their tradition of waking up their kids to have a family breakfast together where flowers and chocolates had been set out on the table for Denise. This was done by Nathan, obviously. And after breakfast, the children enjoyed a sweet Valentine's Day treat before they were taken to school and daycare. Nathan then headed off for church and Denise stayed home doing chores and, you know, and things like that. So Nathan dropped off the baby at daycare and their youngest was 4 years old. And so she was at daycare. The two oldest kids were at school. So then Nathan receives a phone call from their youngest daughter's daycare informing him that the wife hadn't shown up to pick her up. Okay? And she was also not answering her phone. So Nathan goes in to pick up the baby, the 4-year-old, and then he drives home to check in on his wife, and it was 3:15, right? That's when he notices that the home had been broken into, right? So he refused to go in, and he called the officer, and that's when the officer noted that the garage door was indeed open and that there was glass on the floor, right? There was no footprints in the ground around the broken window outside. You know, if you're standing outside a broken window that has mud on the ground, you would see footprints, right?
Yeah.
Right. I mean, if somebody was standing on that ground, it would have sunken in and you would have seen the footprints. So then that's when they realized that the window had been broken from the inside of the home, right?
Also, where is the glass? Is the glass on the inside of the house or the outside of the house?
I mean, yeah, right?
If you hit the glass from the outside, wouldn't the glass fall outside? You know, if you hit it inside, wouldn't it fall outside? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly, right? I didn't even think that. You are a good detective. So the cop calls for backup and he's thinking, you know, the burglar could still be inside the house, right? So the second officer arrives and the two policemen enter the property, again, observing the pieces of glass and noticing that the kitchen was a mess. It was just like all over the place. The kitchen cabinets were left open and the drawers were pulled out and they were laid on the floor. The freaking they noticed the one thing that was really peculiar. The burglar looked through their junk drawer, took out the junk drawer, and laid it on the floor neatly. Like, you know, like why would a burglar? First of all, if I'm trying to steal something, I'm not going to look through the kitchen cabinets for shit.
Yeah, what it could possibly be in the cabinets,
right? Like, what could possibly Like, what are you going to steal? Silver? What are you, from the 1920s?
Yeah. Right. I was just thinking, like, it's not like we have like expensive china anymore or anything. Like,
exactly. Also, who the fuck wants your china?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, you're not a crackhead trying to sell china on the street. Like, I've literally never seen that. So they walked into the living room where the family's TV and video player, like the mom, the mother-in-law, worked at like a TV place. And they had a lot of like TVs and video players and things like that, you know?
Okay.
They were untouched, right? Like, so what the fuck was the burglar going in there for, right? All this is still untouched, and they move past this room, and the men continue along the long hallway towards the front door, whereupon they discover the body of Denise Leuthold facing down in a pool of her own blood. They also found a spent shell casing and a live round next to her. So they realized this was no longer just a regular run-of-the-mill home invasion. The police officers then retreated from the house, again called for backup, because, you know, at this point they have to secure the area and, you know, and so they come in with more emergency officers and they search the property. So when they come out to the police car, right? So I'm like getting ahead of myself. They come out to the police car. He's still fucking standing outside like a dope. Standing outside like a dope, staring at the house. He's not asking any questions. He's not like, hey, where's my wife? By the way, why are you coming into your police car to grab a bulletproof vest? Like, what the fuck is going on? Nothing.
Yeah.
Not asking any questions, just staring at the house, right?
Yeah.
Like, wouldn't you, I don't know, like, wouldn't you want to ask?
You'd be frantic. Like, if you didn't know already what happened to your wife, you'd be frantic. What was going on?
Right. So they come in, they secure the house, whatever, what have you. And so when they're done securing the house, getting their, you know, all the ducks in order, they ask him to come back to the police station for questioning. So his in-laws stay with the 3 kids, and Nathan goes back to the station to be interviewed. They started at 6 p.m. and didn't wrap up until 12:30 a.m. So they had a lot of questions for the man. During this time, he signed papers granting his consent for officers to conduct 4 different searches of his property. So one was to search his vehicle for anything. One was for Denise's bedroom, their bedroom. One was to search his phone, and another was to search his personal laptop. And that included his USB drive and all that other stuff, right? The reason why they couldn't search Denise's car is because her car had been reported stolen. The garage door was open. Her car wasn't in there. Her car had been reported stolen. He's complying with the police, but he's just oddly emotionless, right? He's just sitting there. He's just like, I mean, if your wife just got killed, wouldn't you be like crying? Especially since, let me just tell you their little backstory. They met when they were in 3rd grade.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, he was in 3rd grade. She was in 4th grade. And they dated all throughout when they were little, all throughout college, and then they ended up getting married. So that was literally his only girlfriend, her only boyfriend. Since he was in 3rd grade, she was in 4th grade.
Wow, wow.
Yeah. So, you know, his lifelong best friend. Yeah. So he's complying with police. He's emotionless, like I said. So it was a little bit odd, but, you know, people were like, well, maybe he's just trying to remain stoic. Maybe he's in shock, you know?
Right, sure.
So his in-laws are at home, and they allow the police to go through the entire family home. And the police noticed that Denise's purse and Nathan's wallet had not been stolen. And they had found $300 in a dresser drawer completely untouched. So if this was a robbery gone wrong, it didn't make sense that the robbers left the TVs and VCRs, left Nathan's laptop, and now the money. Right? Like, how does that, then what the fuck what was worth stealing that it was worth killing a woman for?
Right. And what was certainly, it wasn't going to be in the junk drawer. You know what I mean?
Right. So, I mean, it was clearly staged, and it was staged poorly. All right. Interestingly enough, though, of Nathan's 3 guns, they counted for his .22 caliber Beretta, but his .40 caliber Glock, which Denise appeared to have been shot by the same maker, was gone.
Really?
Yeah. So his one Glock, it would stand to reason that maybe the thieves were interrupted by her. You could stand to reason that maybe they came in there and she interrupted them. They searched for the gun, you know what I mean? They found the gun and then they killed her with it and then ran off, noticing that they killed her with it and took her keys. Right. Now, here's a problem with her car keys were mangled in her hair at the scene of the crime. So what set of car keys did they use to take the car?
His set.
He says he didn't have a second set and that they shared the keys between them.
So what, they hotwire the car?
That's okay. So that's a possibility, right? Who knows? Okay. All right. But they did take the gun. Only when they asked him where was the gun, he was like, it's in a safe, right? It's in a plastic safe that would have had to been crowbarred to get open. Okay. Why would they crack open the plastic, the case that the gun came in and taken it with them?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Also, why would you take the time to crowbar? That would have taken up too much time.
Yeah, and what are you talking about? One of those little plastic safes? You just take it with you.
Yeah.
You know?
Right, but it was locked, so you'd have to break it open to get the gun out. Who's gonna take the time to do all of that? You just fucking run if you know what I'm saying? You're not gonna turn attempted burglary into fucking full-fledged murder.
Right.
It just doesn't make any sense.
You wouldn't even know that a gun was in there specifically.
Right.
You'd be taking a serious chance.
Exactly. So it was just really weird, right? So then they find another thing, a day planner. And inside that day planner, they found a note that was tucked away. And what was written inside of that note shed some light onto this whole case. Just broke it wide open. So I'm going to read the note. The note was written by Nathan's wife, Denise, okay? What on earth could you possibly be thinking? I can't imagine anything you could tell me that would hurt worse than what you were doing to me right now, every day. I really don't think there's anything that I have done or not done that would cause me to deserve this. I have tried to please you for 17 years and never succeeded. I've never been good enough, never done enough. I know that you want me dead. I'm not stupid. I suppose it will confirm my worthlessness to you when I write that I'm not brave enough to do that job for you. And now, all of a sudden, you are taking me with you places. What is that all about? Maybe you think I don't feel bad enough. You act like you're somehow noble because you won't tell me why you're doing this. It makes me sick. I have been willing at any time to fall in love with you again, but you reject me every time. I wish I could hate you. I've tried to hate you because I thought it would make it easier. I thought it would hurt so bad. Of course, I couldn't do it, so I have failed at that too. I have been without pride. I have humiliated myself to try to win something that belongs to me. You defraud me, and you don't seem to care. Well, I quit. I'm not going to try to please you anymore. I will do what I have to do, but no more of that game. You want to humiliate me by running around with a 20-year-old? Fine. I won't grovel. If I haven't pleased you in 17 years, nothing I do now will please you. Now, and I refuse to leave my children just because you have decided to do this to me. You're the only person who thinks I'm a bad mother. Complete strangers compliment me on them, so I will not join you in your obsession with perfection. I am the same person that I've always been. I'm not weaker, and in many ways, stronger. I refuse to play to your perfectionism in that too. I have borne neglect and criticism and kept going. But now this? How long? How long are you going to do this to me? Oh yeah, until I break. That's what you said, isn't it? Well, happy waiting. So she knew about the affair.
Yeah, she was like,
yeah, and she was like, I know you're trying to break me and bring me down to my knees, possibly try to get her to commit suicide from sadness. Yeah. This is the only man she's known, and he's running around with a freaking 20-year-old, Yeah. And a 20-year-old that she basically helped him raise. I'm going to tell you about that.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. So in the year 2000, the couple had traveled together to Lithuania, and they met a Lithuanian family who were also heavily involved with the church. In 2012, the eldest child of this Lithuanian family was 18 years old. And the Leutholds decided to sponsor her as an exchange student with her interest being in ministry work and music. So Denise Leuthold would go to Lithuania and she would teach music to the children and, piano and like singing and stuff like that. And so the 18-year-old had promising future in that, So the young woman was offered a room of her own on the ground floor of the family home. This young woman was called Ina, and it appeared that Nathan and Ina were a coupled.
Okay.
And reportedly, Nathan was obsessed with his mistress. Okay, so she was there. Like they met the girl when she was about 6 or 7 years old. Because they would go to Lithuania, and by the time she was 18 years old, I guess he had been grooming her this whole time. By the time she was 18 years old, he decided to bring Ina home.
That's so gross.
Right? So she would babysit for them and stuff like that. And so they began to trust her with the kids and whatever. So she was nearly 20 years young. Like at this point, Nathan and his wife are almost 20 years older than Ina, So that's a touchy age for a woman. You're reaching your 40s. Your husband's fucking running around with a 20-year-old. It makes you like self-conscious, And I think he was like really fucking gaslighting her and just like really mentally abusing her with that picture,
Yeah. I mean, he's like the epitome of like midlife crisis. And she's, he's playing on all of those insecurities of like turning 40, being older, being, undesirable. And like, that's so fucking gross.
Exactly. On March 6, 2013, Nathan Leuthold was arrested for first-degree murder of his wife, Denise Leuthold. The trial was set for Monday, July 14th, 2014. The day before would have been Nathan and Denise's 19th wedding anniversary.
Yeah.
And although the prosecution had no real concrete evidence that Nathan had killed his wife for his mistress, Ina, let's get into what they did have, right? They presented the evidence that, I guess, witness evidence, right? That's what they had, circumstantial evidence. On February 14th, 2013, another resident of the neighborhood was leaving her house around 12:20 p.m. With her husband. And they noticed a man walking along the street from Robertson Park and towards the houses, towards their neighborhood. So she described the person as wearing only a black sweatshirt despite the low temperatures. It was about 14 degrees Fahrenheit. So she found that odd that he was only wearing a black sweatshirt, hoodie pulled up over his head. The most suspicious of suspicious clothing. Anything more suspicious would be a cloak, right?
Okay, sure. A top hat and a cane, maybe.
A trench coat, right? With a hat slowly tipped to cover his face.
Yes.
And you're a shadowy figure, right?
Right.
That would be another suspicious thing.
Very suspicious.
And then there's the hoodie.
Dare I say even more suspicious than just a sweatshirt.
Exactly. So it's 14 degrees. He's walking around with a sweatshirt in the direction of from the park to the neighborhood. Now, I failed to let you know that Robertson Park was where Denise's car was eventually found.
Okay. All right. That's a problem.
So she thought the man looked suspicious. And she became anxious because she was like, well, if he knows that we're leaving our house right now, they know that if he's going to rob somebody, our house is an easy target. So she tells her husband, slow down. I want to see his face, right? So she positively identifies him as Nathan Leuthold. So she would have known him because they're neighbors. She said that he looked really anxious and just like his face just looked like he had been up to something. So if her ID was correct, then this places Nathan near the home instead of church where he said he was going to be, right? So another witness testified that while visiting her sister who lived nearby, she had been running and she heard gunshots around 12:30 coming from that house. But the most powerful testimony came from Nathan's mistress herself. She was questioned because it was believed that she was the one that was inside the house staging the robbery while Nathan killed his wife.
Oh, shit.
Okay, which she did a very shitty job at staging it. So anyway, she was given immunity in exchange for her testifying because she, at first when they were questioning her, she just looked at them and like refused to give any information. Like she just stared at them coldly. She didn't cry, nothing. And they were like, how dare you? How could you be sleeping with him when this woman opened her home to you? And she would just stare at them like she didn't give a shit. Not a goddamn thing. She even said that she didn't love him. She was just using him for money, which I believe.
Yeah.
So she freaking refuses to say a word. But then as soon as she was offered, immunity, she fucking sings like a canary. Just like all of the freaking snitching. So she tells the court that while she attended college in Pensacola, Florida in 2010 through 2011, she and Nathan would stay in hotels in the area. In fact, when this college found out that she had been doing that, they kicked her out of school.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, because I guess, and you would think, like, what a college would look into that? Like, what the hell kind of college is it, right?
Christian college, yeah.
Yeah, and she was here on the sponsorship. You know what I mean? So,
right.
So
yeah, they have like a certain decorum they must uphold or whatever.
I guess, right? So she moves out of Florida. She moves into the Leuthold home, right? And then he starts taking her to the spa in and around Peoria. And he was paying for her to have massages. He was paying one of you guys.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
To give her a massage. How many mistresses have you massaged?
Probably quite a few, actually.
So anyway, he's paying for them to get like couples massages and whatever, and for her to get massages. But another thing that he's paying for her to get is wax, like bikini waxes. And he's going with her to these bikini waxes.
So he's like making her the way he wants her so that he can have his way with her.
Yes.
That's gross.
Yes. And he was paying for her to get her hair done. And so an employee at the spa testifies that when she saw Ina and Nathan there together, she had provided services for them for at least a couple of years. She thought that they were a couple. Because Nathan's testimony was that he was just bringing her there because she didn't speak English very well.
I mean, she knows that he's married? He knows her wife, right?
Yeah, but he was just like, like I was bringing her to do her a favor like you would do your daughter. I'm sorry, sir. My dad has never once been in my life, but also would never go get me waxed.
Yeah, no.
Right? So the spa realized that he was a married man when he went in there that morning that he killed her to buy her a fucking gift certificate. And the spa lady was like, wait a minute, what? You're married? So who's that other girl? She just thought it. She didn't say it out loud, right?
Yeah.
I got a question. Go
ahead, what?
Are you telling me there's only one spa in Peoria? Like you cannot go and take her to another spa or get her certificate, or is it just because you knew she was going to be dead and not using it?
Exactly.
I mean,
right.
Messy.
So,
messy.
Ina testified that Nathan had taken the two of, that she had gone away with Nathan to Europe in the summers of 2011 and 2012.
Oh, shit.
So not only was he treating her to spa days and trip to Europe, but they also would go to the gym every day, at least every other week, to work out. And he would he's buying all this for her. He's spending all this money on her, He would text her, like when the police went and got, the text between them and stuff like that. He would text her, like, are you wet? Like, when she was at the gym. Yeah. And he would be like, yeah. And he would talk about how good she smelled and,
Oh, I hate him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just really creepy shit.
He's nasty.
He really is nasty. So they were going to the gym and whatnot. And in November 2012, Nathan rented out a luxury apartment in Chicago, and he and Ina stayed there for 6 nights together. And then again in December 2012, they visited more apartments. But she denied that they had a romantic relationship or whatever. She said that he was there to translate for her and everything.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But she speak perfect. She speaked perfect English, better than me.
Better than you.
So the thing that sealed Nathan's fate, however, was a jailhouse informant who claimed that Nathan shared the whole plot with him. Why do criminals do this? And you hear about that more often than not, that they bragged about every detail of the crime to their jailhouse companion.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I mean, come on. I love it that they're doing it, though. So,
Yeah, thank God.
yeah, he told him that he had exchanged words with Denise that morning and that he shot her in her head, which is why the keys she probably had the keys in her hand. And when she landed, they just got tangled up in her hair. You know what I'm saying?
Like a very violent scene where he was like snatching her keys and like grabbed her by the hair or something. But
no, I think she was like coming in because I think he shot her in the back of the head or in the side of the head. I think she was coming in from dropping the baby at daycare, you know, and she had the keys in her hand, and they were probably arguing, and she probably turned her back on him, and that's when he got her, you know. Maybe he didn't realize that her keys were still in her hands, you know?
Yeah.
He told the jailhouse informant that he had considered poisoning her, like through a insulin like overdose.
Jesus.
Yeah. And he looked it up on the internet. Like his internet searches were just like how do you electrocute a person? How to get a silencer for a Glock 40 or whatever the fuck it was. Yeah, so he's like looking up all these internet searches. In the end, it only took 90 minutes for the jury to come back with their verdict.
Thank God.
He was found guilty of first-degree murder, and for that, in September of 2014, he was sentenced to 80 years in prison and had his parental rights revoked. And Denise's parents took custody of the kids.
Wow.
And that is the reason why you should watch out for beautiful girls that enter suddenly into your home under the guise of your husband's looking to lift her up and help her out. I mean, wasn't Woody Allen like,
Mm.
you know,
That was his stepdaughter.
cautionary tale enough? Yeah, I mean, that's just gross. Nitty, I'm going to slap myself in the hand. That was wrong. Don't make that. I'm like victim blaming here.
Yeah.
Not cool. Now, let me just tell you that Denise, I mean, nobody deserves this, but especially not her. She was with this man since fucking fourth grade.
Fourth grade, my God.
Jesus Christ, you know? Just sounded like she was just like a nice lady going along with her husband, being the dutiful wife.
Yeah.
You know? She worked for an insurance agency. Like, part of all these like little spa treatments and everything, she was probably paying for.
Yeah.
When Ina was questioned, she was like, you know, they were like, well, you know, where did he come up with all this money? And she was like, well, Denise must have known because, you know, she saw what he paid and, you know, she was part of those payments.
Yeah.
I'm just like, oh my God. And my heart just breaks for that lady.
Well, she knew because she wrote him that letter. Like, she knew exactly what was going on.
I mean, yeah. And they were like flaunting it in front of her face.
Oh, God.
In her parents' house.
That's so fucked. And it's she didn't even get to like experience life, right? Like, she's with the same guy since she was a little kid. Like, she just,
right.
You know, you never get to like try anything else or experience any like kind of newness or funness.
Right. She never got to sit on another dick. And it's just like so sad. Ooh. That's what I get. I just freaking hit my knee. No, but it's just like, you know what? It just like aggravates me. Like you're a good girl. You're doing the right thing. You're being a good mom. You're a godly woman. And then your freaking husband does you dirty like this.
Yeah. And then kills you and your kids.
I mean, exactly. Like he could have just left her.
Yeah. And she said, like, just leave then. Like, if this is what you want more. Like,
exactly. But I think he had been... I think he had been trying to like break her down to the point where she would commit suicide because like the letter kind of alludes to it. You know what I mean?
I'm not going to do it for you.
Exactly. She's like, I'm not going to leave my kids or whatever. So I don't know, man. That's just a special kind of ugly.
That's so fucking dark, bro.
Yeah. Yeah, I hope he rots in there.
Nydia, where did you find your information?
Oh, I'm sorry. I got my information from Morbidology, Wikipedia, and Dateline.
She loves her Dateline.
I do love my Dateline. So that's it. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
You're sticking to it?
Yeah.
I'm so glad that divorce is a thing and people do it. And we should just get divorced if we don't like each other anymore. It's fine.
Yeah.
Unless you watch A Woman Scorned, where the man got the divorce, and we're about to discuss that with another podcast.
Yeah. I can't wait to talk about this.
Oh my God. That was delicious. That was delicious watching.
Yeah, it was. As soon as I turned it on, I was like, this is 90s-tastic. I love everything about this. This is so good.
So 90s-tastic. Loved it. So anyway, but that's it for us. We'll be discussing that story next time. We'll see you next week. In the meantime, subscribe so you don't miss out. We have merch. We have Patreon. We have Buy Me a Coffee. You could write a review, share it with somebody else. And you can connect with us anywhere that social media exists. Check you out next week. And remember, do not get taken to the second location. Be good or be good at hiding that body. Ciao. Cheers.
Are you okay?
Jesus Christ. You're fucking loud. You're disgusting and I hate you both. Oh god. I'm crying. Oh my god. And holding my pee because I almost fucking peed myself.